The Alfa Romeo Montreal also has a powerful V8 under the hood. The extreme Alfa Montreal with its 200 horsepower 8-cylinder engine began its history in 1966. Without guidance from Alfa, the designers drew a futuristic coupé. The order? Show what you can do. 3 years later, the 33 Stradale presented the Dream Engine, a classic V8 racing engine which is only tamed with difficulty on the road. One of the few men who take on the challenge of the Montreal is Ulrich Pfeiffer. When he sees it for the first time on a billboard, he loses the mind jewel with his feelings. It took him a year to scrape together the money to buy a demonstration car, and he does not regret it to this day. The engine has over 160,000 kilometers under its belt and runs like on the first day. Meticulously maintained by its owner, even though the former carpet dealer never wanted to be a mechanic.
Over the years, one has got used to it. The workshops can't do that anymore. One checks with the eyes, have a little look at everything that needs doing, and then off we go.
Die vor jeder Fahrt gemacht werden sollten, und dann fahren wir los.
The luxury sports car was in shop windows from 1970 to 77. It competed with Ferrari Dino and Porsche 911S. The Montreal delivered 200 horsepower up to a top speed of 220 kilometers an hour. The prototype which Alfa presented at the World Exhibition in Montreal in 1967 still had the little four-cylinder Giulia engine under the hood. It was so well received by the public that the manufacturer decided to go into series production. A whole 3 years later in 1970 it went into series, and it took its name from the Montreal and almost unchanged the optics. It even retained the futuristic instrument panel. Based on the chassis of the Giulia, it came onto the market for 35,000 German marks, and Alfa now had a flagship sports car. But the domesticated race engine overwhelmed the workshops. Result, numerous engines damaged. One of the reasons why spare parts are rare today, Ulrich Pfeiffer collected everything he could for years in a small garage, from complete engines to small parts.
It's difficult. You have to drive around a lot. You get the one thing or other at the Alfa Club, or otherwise you just have to have it built, honed by metalworkers made by hand.
Pfeiffer doesn't do major work on the engine or complicated settings, and despite this, he likes to get the full performance out of the V8 engine. The reason for the careless use can be found in his neighborhood. Ex-Alfa dealer Dieter DC, he knows the Montreal as well as any. And in the 70s, the master mechanic drove a number of successful races and even got onto the podium with the Montreal. And if the engine's not running properly, it is usually due to the Sistema Iniezione Alfa Romeo Spica. The mechanical ejection pump is a technical masterpiece, but very capricious. Many mechanics fail exactly there.
They couldn't understand how to set the pump to stop the engine. There were a bunch of tools alone just for that linkage, and then that had to be synchronized, otherwise it didn't work anymore from back to front. Then they started to mess around, and then it was too late.
Strange, while a tamed engine sits under the hood of the Road Montreal, in the Bazzarini GT Racing, a tuned, mass-produced engine works. The production of the Montreal halted in the mid-70s, and the reason? The oil price shock and a consumption of up to 18 liters. In 7 years, only just over 3,900 of the Extreme Alphas came off the production line, and 1977 is the end. Today, the Montreal is a dream car. The thrust of the 8-cylinder engine beyond 5,000 RPM can be addictive, a dream that can be fulfilled for only about 30,000 euros today. The Montreal is known as the Special Italo under the V8 sports cars. The next one is one of the most elegant.